My daughter's a contrarian, which I'm proud of. I really like. I tell her Louis Armstrong is the greatest trumpet player in the world. And instead of her doing what I would expect a kid at this point, like 6 or 7, to do, and go say, hey, Louis Armstrong's the greatest trumpet player in the world. Don't tell me otherwise. My dad told me. She looks right up at me and goes, nah. I said, what do you mean, nah? Who do you like? If you say Marcellus, you're up for adoption. She looks at me and she says, Dizzy Gillespie is the greatest trumpet player in the world. I was like, darn! Good girl! Baby, Louis was the originator. And she says, yeah, but then Dizzy took it and made it better. And I was just like, oh, I love her. She's such a contrarian, you know? So she listens and she just wants to fight. And she hears me after some of my comedian friends had done a roast the night before. And roasts are brutal. I hate them. The idea of a modern day roast is that somebody goes home and has sad thoughts that involve writing a note. You know, I mean, they're just so, and I'm telling my wife, I don't want to do roasts. I get invited and I just don't want to do them. Which means she does. She says to me, Daddy, what's a roast? I said, it's where people use humor as an excuse to be really horrible and mean to each other and say insulting things about each other. And you have to smile and pretend that it didn't hurt you. And she goes, So for the next week, she's questioning me about roasts more and more. So I'm like, I know what's coming. So my daughter's a roast comic. I don't know who else is on the dais or whatever, but I'm the guest of honor. And we're sitting at the dining room table, and my daughter has worms. I should reword that. My daughter does not have worms. We practice good hygiene. We believe in vaccinations. She has worms as pets. She has pet worms that she keeps in a wormery. And she just finished playing with the worms, washed her hands, came to the dinner table. She says to me, Daddy, you know, worms are a lot like people. I said, really? How's that, sweetheart? She says, well, take you, for example. Like a worm, your face looks exactly like your rear end. 80% of parenting is not laughing. So I'm dying, so I look to my wife for help, and I see my wife going... So my wife says this, why don't we go ahead and laugh, but then not do that again? I'm like, all right, it was funny, sweetheart. Jump forward a week. She's in her room. She's playing with her little vampire dolls. No, my daughter did not go out and buy vampire dolls. She went to the thrift store and bought $1 dolls and then wiped their faces off with nail polish and drew on vampire faces. She's playing with her vampires. I said, sweetie, are you a vampire? She said, no, Daddy. Like, oh, I'm sorry. I said, are you sure? Have you looked in the mirror? I heard vampires don't have a reflection, thinking I can impress her. And she says, Daddy, I look at my reflection several times a day. And then she says, but I understand why you wouldn't want to. And before I can even get mad, she says, was that a good burn, Daddy? Is that good? She wants fatherly approval, and I have to congratulate her on hurting me. I said, yeah, baby, that was a sick burn. And she runs to tell Mommy, Mommy, I sick burned Daddy. He asked if I was a vampire. Let me set it up for you. So, and then the worst one was just last week. I went in and tried to put a fitted sheet on the bed, which I will never, ever get right on the first try. Always put on sideways, so then I'm looping it around, trying to put on. I get mad, I throw the whole thing on the bed. She says, Daddy, what are you doing? I said, I'm failing at putting a fitted sheet on a bed. She said, well, just add that to the list of things you failed at. Did I mention I don't hit my kid? We made a decision not to hit her. So...